Alright, so we're about to take our first trip here, and we need to make sure that our air brake system is safe to operate. To do so, we're going to do what's called a leak down test. This one has an alarm sensor. If it has an alarm, make sure you do turn the alarm off. Okay, the proper procedure is to start the engine. Okay, we're going to verify that our air gauges are getting above 100, probably about 125 pounds is normal. Once they've reached that air pressure, we then are going to turn the engine off, turn the key back to the on position, wait for your gauges to stabilize. Okay, once the gauges have stabilized, you're going to pump the brake pedal 2 times and hold on the second time. At that point, our gauges will restabilize, and we're going to watch for 1 minute. And we're looking for any air loss of more than 4 pounds. It only takes about 60 seconds to learn if you've got an air leak. If you do have an air leak, they're usually easy to find by getting the airbags fully inflated and walking the coach with the engine off to hear for an air leak, an air hiss somewhere. Okay, if our gauges have not dropped, we know we are safe for travel. We can go ahead and start the engine. Your driver's instrument panel has a lot of switches, but nothing to be afraid of. So we'll start back here in this back corner. We have the utility light. Utility light is just going to be for the light underneath the generator and engine compartment, just in case you want to check the oil in the middle of the night. Auxiliary start switch, the next one here has got a picture of a battery. Sometimes they're also called a battery boost. That is emergency switch that they put in the vehicle in case you have a dead engine battery. Maybe you left the lights on or the radio and couldn't start the coach. If that's the case, you're going to press and hold the switch while starting the engine. It'll pull power from the house batteries to start you. Our next one is going to be the Icc Courtesy Lights. That's going to be the exterior running lights at the top of the coach, and it's on a spring-loaded switch. When we flash that, that flashes those lights to allow a truck that's ahead of you to come into your lane. Usually that Honda doesn't know what you're doing, so only truckers are going to know what that is. And then the next switch here, we have our dash fans. These are for your upper fans. They're a little bit noisy, but they definitely help with the air conditioning system. You have a high and a low setting. Okay. Our next switch is a crucial one. This is the engine brake or engine retarder, also known as Jake brake. When you get to the top of a hill and you're about to start your descent, instead of using your brakes all the way down, you turn on the engine brake or retarder, simply switching the switch to the on position. When doing that, that's going to allow the coach to use the exhaust system and transmission to slow you down instead of overheating your brakes. If you do fail to turn the switch on, it's a possibility that you will overheat the brakes by the time you get to the bottom of that hill, thus endangering everyone in the coach. So please remember to turn on your Jake brake or exhaust brake. Next, you're going to come up to our control panel for the transmission. It is an Allison transmission in this coach. It's push button, very easy to operate. You have D for drive, N for neutral, and R for reverse. Notice there's no gear shifter, so for the park position, we need to have neutral for the gear and an air brake engaged. For drive position, we'll simply press D for drive and release the air brake by pushing in on the air brake. At that point, your selector will say 6-1. That's your primary and secondary gears. Primary gear, when driving around town or on the freeway, flat land, is going to be 6. It'll automatically switch between the secondary gears as needed. But when you go to climb that hill, say you're heading to Vegas and the Cajon Pass, 6 gear will not get you up that hill. You'll need to use the downshifting arrows to drop it into 5th, 4th, or even 3rd gear. At that point, then the coach will climb the hill at a normal pace. Once you get to the top of the hill, do return it to its 6th position. Also on this particular transmission, you don't want to go straight from reverse to drive or drive to reverse. That puts extra strain on the transmission. If we're in reverse, we want to press neutral, then go to drive. That way we don't put any extra strain on that transmission. and that was park position, neutral with the air brake pulled on. Next we have mirror heat. If you're camping in the snow or you got a cold morning, you need to defrost those mirrors, you have the red switch here, turn it on, and that's going to defrost your mirrors. Right below it is the mirror adjustment, left and right. That does the upper portion of your mirrors. If that lower portion spot mirror needs to be adjusted, that is manual. Coming next, we're going to have our windshield wipers. On this particular unit, if you push in once and hold, it's going to spray the wipers and operate the wipers and then stop. If you turn the dial, the wipers will stay in the on position. The outer ring will adjust your speed. The next switch over is going to be our lights. Our headlights are not automatic. You do got to manually turn them on. And then it also has the cargo dome light, just like your automotive at home. Okay, we've got a lot of gauges here. We have a battery voltage gauge. We have oil pressure, diesel fuel. We also have an RPM gauge, your speedometer, and we have an engine temperature, and we have 2 air gauges. The air gauges represent one for the brakes and one for the leveling system. And we've already gone and done the leak down test, so we know they're operating correctly. Next switch over to the right here, we'll have our visors. Those are going to drop down your sun visors. And then over here will be a toggle switch to get through your odometer screen. That will get you your transmission temperatures, odometer, and trip settings. Down below that, we'll come to the AC and heat for the engine chassis only. That is not enough to cool or heat everyone in the coach. It'll work for your passenger and yourself, and they work similar to the one in your car. Okay, next switch over, we have a radio switch. If you want to listen to the radio while you're at camp without turning your key on, we'll toggle the switch and you'll get power to your radio from your house batteries. Our backup camera works in 2 ways. It can be on at all times, or if I put it in the standby position and put the vehicle into reverse, the camera will automatically come on. This particular unit is also equipped with turn signal cameras. So when I turn on my blinker, I will get a camera shooting down the side of the coach. It does help with your merging. All right, this cockpit or driver's area may look very familiar to you. This is a standard Class C. Anyone that drives a Ford will be very familiar with this area. Starting up over here, you're going to have your mirror heat switch, defrost the mirrors. Down below, you're going to have your mirror adjustment to adjust the upper portion of the mirrors. If the lower portion needs adjustment, you will have to manually adjust them. You're going to have door locks and window operations. Coming back up to the dash here, you'll have your headlights. They are not automatic. You do have to manually turn them on. You're going to have your wipers are right here on the steering column, as well as the washer fluid. Okay. On the steering wheel itself is the cruise control settings: on, off, resume, set, accelerate, and coast. You're going to have your oil pressure gauge, an RPM or tachometer, and your miles per hour odometer, fuel, and engine temperature. You also have a battery charge, standard to any vehicle, not too many changes here. Now here you're going to have an emergency start button, and that is in case your engine battery has died, maybe the radio was left on or the headlights. You simply press and hold that while trying to start the engine, and it'll start you from your house batteries. Down below, this switch here would be the generator start and stop, the remote switch. This coach actually has 3 of them, one at the generator, one here at the driver's area, and one at the main control panel. And then moving over here, we have our fan speeds for our AC and heat for the dash area, and all your outlets for 12-volt charging.